Global Times, 26th of September 2023, cooperation between China, Japan, and South Korea promotes everyone's interests. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin briefed on Tuesday that high-level officials from China, Japan, and South Korea had held extensive talks on working for the steady resumption of trilateral cooperation and decided to hold a meeting of foreign ministers in the upcoming months. They also chose to keep in touch regarding meeting leaders at the earliest convenient time for all three countries. The spokesperson stated that Chung Byung-won, the Deputy Foreign Minister of South Korea, Takehiro Funakoshi, the Senior Deputy Foreign Minister of Japan, and Nong Rong, the Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs for China, were present at the meeting, which took place on Tuesday in Seoul. It was decided that trilateral cooperation benefits the shared interests of the three parties. According to Wang, practical cooperation must be stepped up in public health, science and technology innovation, economics and trade, people-to-people exchanges, and culture to advance trilateral collaboration and contribute to greater regional peace, stability, and prosperity. According to a report by the Japanese network TBS, South Korea suggested a trilateral summit in late December as the chair of the tripartite cooperation mechanism. Chinese analysts stated that it is still too early to commit to a formal summit between the leaders shortly and that President Yoon Suk-yeol of South Korea and his administration must take proactive steps to repair relations with China, which have deteriorated as a result of Seoul's pro-US solid foreign policy. It would be good news for Yoon, who is facing declining approval ratings if the conditions for a leaders' meeting are met. This could happen this year, before South Korea's legislative elections in April 2024, which is a crucial turning point for Yoon and a gauge of the performance of the current president. Wang Junsheng, a research fellow of East Asian Studies at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences in Beijing, told the Global Times on Tuesday. As soon as he assumed office in 2022, Yoon adopted an ardently pro-US foreign policy stance, straining the nation's relations with its biggest trading partner, China, and contributing to rising unemployment rates, particularly among young professionals. Wang Junsheng stated that Yoon and his government now have the most pressing need to revive the leaders' meeting to repair ties with China, as such a remarkable event could save them from low approval ratings at home, despite polls consistently showing the economy as the top concern of South Korean voters. According to South Korean media, Yoon's domestic appeal is still mediocre at best. According to a recent Gallup poll, Yoon has a moderate 34% approval rating. The so-called historic U.S.-Japan-South Korea summit in August at the U.S. presidential retreat Camp David was denounced by the Chinese Foreign Ministry as a deliberate attempt to sow discord between the second-largest economy in the world and two of its Asian neighbors. According to Chinese analysts, it might be a step toward establishing a U.S.-led mini-NATO in the area, which would compel other nations to respond more assertively. Nong Rong, a senior fellow at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences National Institute of International Strategy, contended that it is wishful thinking on the part of Seoul to believe that the closer Seoul gets to Washington, the more negotiating leverage it could have with Beijing, since China would primarily handle relations with South Korea within the framework of the trilateral cooperation mechanism between China, Japan, and South Korea, or the China-South Korea bilateral setting. Dong stated that it would be premature to commit to a formal summit of the leaders anytime soon because ministerial-level discussions are needed to establish concrete agendas and discussion points, and it would not be a simple task. Lu Zhao, an expert on Korean Peninsula issues at the Liaoning Academy of Social Sciences, cautioned that Yoon's government would not be allowed to proceed with any further arrangements for a three-way meeting of leaders unless it made practical amends for its China policy. This included correcting its totally unacceptable remarks regarding the Taiwan question, ceasing to echo the U.S. to provoke China in the South China Sea, and withdrawing from the anti-China chip alliance. On Tuesday, South Korea celebrated Armed Forces Day, typically quiet, with the most significant military parade in 10 years. The parade featured a variety of weapons, from tanks to ballistic missiles, and passed through Seoul. As South Korea and the U.S. celebrated their alliance's 70th anniversary, more than 300 combat soldiers from the U.S. 8th Army, which is part of U.S. Forces Korea, participated in the march, according to media reports. According to Liu, such a prominent display of force on Tuesday would be provocative. It probably elicits a strong reaction from North Korea, posing new risks to the stability and peace of the peninsula. Is it not contradictory that Seoul would undo its recent attempts to restore a cooperative environment in its neighborhood with such an aggressive move? Said Liu.